Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating psychological petri dishes ever conceived. We're looking exactly at why civilization fails on islands, using the ultimate case study, William Golding's Lord of the Flies. Now, the island here isn't just a physical location, it's a literal experiment in human nature. So let's dig right in.
Let's kick things off with the absolute ultimate question. What really happens when a group of crash-landed boys are handed total freedom with zero adults around? Picture it. The waves are crashing, civilization has completely faded away, and there is literally no one left to enforce order. What's our very first instinct when the rules simply disappear?
Let's start with Section 1, the island experiment, focusing on the illusion of order.
Well, initially, their immediate instinct is to just actively recreate the society they just lost. Ralph steps right up as leader and instantly establishes these three massive pillars of civilization. You've got the conch shell, which basically acts as their democracy, giving a voice to whoever holds it. Then you have the shelters, which represent actual civilization and provide physical safety. And finally, the signal fire, right? Their shining promise of hope and rescue. Honestly, at first glance, the island experiment looks like a total success.
But we know it doesn't last. That brings us to Section 2, the catalyst of chaos, or order versus power.
Because, as the source text makes absolutely clear, not everyone actually wants to follow the rules. This incredibly fragile structure builds into a massive ideological war. On one side, you've got Ralph, representing order. He's totally focused on governance, reason, and obviously getting rescued. But on the other side, Jack, the former choir leader who turns into this spear-wielding hunter. He is pure chaos. It's completely ironic, but he looks at this isolated island and sees something entirely different than Ralph does. He doesn't want to govern, he wants to rule. And to him, power and that visceral thrill of the hunt matter way more than any sort of logical order.
As Jack's influence starts spreading like wildfire, a real shadow falls over the group. Whispers of this mythical beast begin to haunt the boys, spreading this completely paralyzing fear across the island. And because of that fear, aggressive hunting just totally replaces democratic governance. Remember that signal fire, their beacon of hope? Yeah, it gets twisted into a literal weapon. Cut off from the rest of the world, their control just slips through their fingers, and the violence absolutely skyrockets.
Which leads us directly into Section 3, the breaking point and the destruction of logic. If you want to understand just how deeply a society can fall, look at how it treats its most rational thinkers. Take Piggy. He is the unwavering voice of logic on this island, but as the chaos totally takes over, he gets mocked, ignored, and ultimately silenced. Why does this happen? Well, because reason is a direct threat to any society that's ruled entirely by fear and power.
Notice how breathtakingly fast this entire collapse happens. To put it into perspective, just look at this timeline. It starts off super optimistically on day 1 with rules and shelters, but by day 30, the huge shift happens. The fire becomes a weapon. Then we hit the truly brutal turning points. Day 60. Simon, literally the only boy who understands the real truth about the island, is killed by the group. And the very next day, the physical conch shell shatters. Piggy falls, and with him, every last illusion of order completely dies.
Now, we can look at the aftermath in Section 4, the darkness within, which gives us the results of the experiment.
This perfectly captures William Golding's chilling core message. The beast was never real, because the beast was always them. The real danger was never some external threat hiding out in the jungle waiting to get them. No way. The monster was inside the boys themselves the entire time.
The source material lays out the super clear 3-step formula for exactly why civilization fails on islands. Step 1, you remove the physical structure and boundaries. Step 2, you remove accountability, so the adults and the actual consequences of the mainland. When an island isolates you from the real world, you inevitably hit Step 3, the darkness emerges. It turns out, civilization isn't our natural state at all. It's this incredibly fragile construct that absolutely requires external enforcement to even survive.
In the very end, rescue does arrive, but it's far, far too late. A naval ship actually spots the smoke from the fire that Jack was using to hunt down Ralph, so the adults finally return. But there's this massive dark irony here, isn't there? They're being rescued by a warship, by adults who are out there engaging in their own massive violent tribalism on a global scale. These boys can never go back to being innocent children. The isolation of the island didn't just change their situation, it completely laid bare their true nature.
So I want to leave you with a final thought for today's explainer. Is Lord of the Flies merely a fictional warning about the past, or is it a terrifying reflection of our own reality right now?
If the structures and the accountability of our modern society were totally removed tomorrow, how long would it actually take for the beast to emerge in us? Think about that for a second. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.